Okay, good afternoon. Welcome to a video by Antiques Arena. Today we're going to look at basically where the antiques trade and collectibles trade is going in the current financial crisis. We're going to look at soaring cost of bills, the cost of expenses to run in a business, and on top of that, we're going to look at maybe ways in which we can save money, keep the business going, and little tips. I can share some, you maybe share some, and hopefully we'll all get through. Just share my little introduction video because I absolutely love it. Absolutely love my little introduction video that I just had made. Anyway, so hello, good afternoon, and thank you very much for joining me. Hopefully today we'll have a good in-depth chat, and hopefully I'll give some, my opinions and on the direction things are gonna go. Share any tips I can, and hopefully you'll be the same. And hopefully between us we'll be able to help each other and so forth. But what's prompted this for me is the cost of living crisis. And although we're seeing major increases now, my worries are not now. My worries are for January and February next year. So I'm not interested in doing I don't know what the term is, a video that just scares people or creates panic. I'm interested in looking at how we can look at all the costs that we got and maybe ways we can try and cut down on some costs, ways we can be more safe, and go from there. So what done it for me was this. I've had to cover over the addresses and things. My bill that came in June for my electric, only my electric, was £1,000, £994 just for my electric. And that was no arrears. Now, my previous bill was a winter bill, all right? And that was only £475, my previous bill, which I paid in full. And then my next bill that came in, which was a spring bill, was £1,000. And that is absolutely crazy. So I thought, all right, this can't be right. I'm going to go on and I'm going to run some comparisons. And I went on to Money Supermarket and I thought I'll run some energy price quotes. Look at this. I typed in my details for the energy quotes. That's the variable there. But if you want to go fixed rate, £1,121 a month. Let me make sure I'm sharing this. Yeah. £1,120 a month, a £13,000 estimate for the first 12 months with an exit fee of £60. That's OVO Energy. That is who has just bought out SSE. So that is my company there, OVO Energy. And to go fixed price, they want £1,121 a month. Now, if you come down, the dearest is it Co-op Energy at £1,179 a month, according to Energy Supermarket, moneysupermarket.com. Now that is crazy. That's more than a lot of people earn in a year. £13,000 they quoted me for my gas and electric for a year, for a year's use. That'd be funny. That's more than I pay on a mortgage. So yeah, that's just the electricity increase. And to be honest with you, really, that's just one small expense of everything. Now, we can't avoid using electricity, especially if you're running a business. You've got your camera, you've got your computer, you've got your photograph tents with the light in and all the rest of it. So you can't avoid electricity usage. Now, I spoke to a couple of friends this week at the car boot sale, and they said to me their usage is far less than mine. Now, I will grant you, I have a large house with children who are constantly on games. But then you look at cost of fuel. Cost of fuel in the last sort of 12 to 18 months has gone from £1 a litre or £1.20 a litre, wherever it is, to over £2 a litre at its highest now. And all these bills, they're adding up. Now, if you're running a business, if you're self-employed, selling little antiques, collectibles on eBay, the fuel involved in driving to car boot sales or antique fairs or auction houses, if it's an auction house, it's twice, because you go to the viewing, then you go to buy it. The fuel to run around the post offices and things, it all has to come into account. All these expenses are things that we are all going to be feeling majorly. So there's two ways of looking at it, really. You've got the expenses we're going to face as a business that we got to absorb and keep going as a business and keep profitable. But then you've got the other side of the general public are feeling all these pinches as well. And then you've got the side of the most important question of everybody is talking about eat or heat. And they reckon this winter people are going to have to choose between eating or warming their homes. So how high up on their priority list is a piece of porcelain or glass or artwork going to be if things get that dire? And that's the main purpose of today's video. Anyway, let me say hello. Hello, I don't know your name, but hello. Enjoyed the video sorting through your old stuff in the garage. Thank you. Hello, Heather. Dave, hello, fella. It's everything. Yeah, I'm going to get into all of it. I want to talk about all the increased costs because they all have an impact. An impact on us as a business and then an impact on our buyers, which means one, we got more expenses, and two, the buyers, they're feeling the pinch and they can't afford to buy the stuff. So our takings are going to be down. Or at least that's the prediction I'm making. So then we have to start really coming up with business plans that are going to really make a difference in money saving, potentially, earning more. Hello, Ian. I'm shouting forever this weekend. The cost of going elsewhere will hit all of us resellers. Diesel and as your bills, we've all been hit by long-term misery. Do you know what, mate? I'm dreading Splot shutting this week. Splot is a car boot sale in Cardiff. For anybody overseas, a car boot sale, we chuck stuff in the back of our car, go to a field or location and sell it. Splot's been going for 30 plus years and they're shutting down this Sunday for good. That's it. So there won't be a car boot sale in Cardiff anymore after this week. I'm dreading it. To go to the next closest one for me, it'll either be Swansea, which is an hour and a half's drive. It's a fair run from me. Or I got to go over the bridge up to Cheltenham or Cheddar, things like that. So you're talking, my fuel cost is going to treble. It really is. My fuel is going to treble, mate. I don't know about you. So... good afternoon, Venus Militant. It's everything and it's everywhere. Same here in the US. Yeah. I'm selling a lot of winter stuff because I reckon no one's going to be able to put the heating on this winter. Do you know what? That is such a clever tip. That really is. I'm dreading it. As you saw over there, my bill, my last winter bill was £475. My spring bill was £1,000. My summer bill, they've already estimated it's going to be like 1,600 to 2,000. And then my next winter bill, which is going to be my Christmas, January, February bill, is going to be astronomical. Can you imagine people having to find money for the Christmas presents for the children, pay their electric, their gas, pay all their food and all the rest of it? They're going to run up their credit cards. They're going to spend more money they got. By next sort of February, March, everybody's going to be struggling. There isn't going to be anyone out there who isn't struggling, is it? Let's be honest. My name is Sapphire. Well, that's absolutely stunning. What a beautiful name. Really nice. So, yeah, I wrote a blog on the website, which I put out this week, which briefly outlines the issues involved. And putting across some tips as to things we can do. But I thought if I do a live video, I can share some of the things I've thought of, and you can share some of yours, and hopefully we'll come up with some solutions. But I'm finding already at the car boot sales, I've been doing car boot sales for decades. And what I tend to do is I buy my really nice stuff, I put it on the internet. Anything that isn't good enough for my website, I normally sell on a car boot sale. £5 for this, £2 or £3 for that, £10 for this. But you know what I'm finding? Almost everything on my store now is £1. I'm selling collectibles, porcelains that a few years ago would be £10 and £15, and I can't get £1 from. I really can't. I sat down Splot last week on the Thursday, and I'm not kidding you. People were picking things up, so they were interested, and they were saying, how much is this? And I'd say 50 pence or £1. Now, bear in mind, the dollar to British pound rate is like 1.2. So a pound here is like $1.2, $1.20. And when people are picking up something they clearly want, or they wouldn't ask the price, and you say £1 or 50 pence, 60 cents in America, and they're putting it back down and walking away, what does that actually tell you? When a few years ago, I'd have actually been asking £5, £6, £7 for that item. So already people are starting to either plan or feel the pinch. It's one or the other. Yeah, I watched, I don't know how many of you watch Black Belt Barrister. And he's a YouTube channel, but he's a barrister, so a legal channel. And he actually done multiple videos on this don't pay, this petition of, can't pay, won't pay, I think it's called. And what the problem with that is the energy companies are going to take everyone to court, and the energy companies, you'll all have a strike against you, and the energy companies will come in and seize your assets, and they will. And they'll cut your supplies off. And let's be honest, there's only one thing that's going to come out of that. It's going to be another excuse for them to increase the prices again. Now, they're already using the excuse of, first of all, they used the pandemic as an excuse. And everybody was at home using the supplies, so the cost went up. Now they're using the war as an excuse. Yet, have a look at this. Last year, they were having profits in the region of $250 million a quarter. Where are we? Sorry. Hopefully I'm sharing this. Yep. Big oil quarterly profits hit 50 billion as UK braces for even higher energy bills. Bumper profits of nearly 50 billion shared by the world's 5 biggest oil companies prompted, I can't read that, calls for higher taxes on the sector. UK households were told to brace for an average annual energy bill of more than $3,600 for this winter. BP were accused of unfettered profiteering after it said Tuesday their profits had tripled to 8.5 billion. Now, if their profits are tripling, under what justification are they still putting the prices up? Clearly, the prices don't need to be going up if they're making 8.5 billion in a bloody quarter. Because last year they made 250 something million in a quarter. Or if you listen to that, they tripled. So divide 9 billion by 3. So they made 3 billion maybe in a year, I don't know. And they now tripled to 9 billion. So you tell me how they're justifying still increasing the prices all these times if that's the profits they're making. Basically, it's Robin Hood, isn't it? They're robbing the poor to pay the rich. The rich again richer, the poor again poorer. That is the upshot of it. I'm thinking that people might want useful stuff rather than collectible antique, but I'm just a casual car boot seller. That is unfortunately the way it's going to go, because I've literally been sat down thinking, hang on a minute, I haven't seen a downturn in my business yet. I've seen it at the car boot sales, which are the lower end. But if I'm selling a pair of candlesticks for £300-400 or a nice vase or a bit of painting, people are still buying it. But the people who are buying a £300 pair of candlesticks are not the same people that it's not your everyday person, let's put it that way. I wouldn't go out and buy a pair of £300 candlesticks to put in my house. I couldn't justify that type of money. But I suppose if you actually, one way of still making profitable with the antiques would be usable antiques, kitchenalia that can be used. I'm not sure, but it's bound to be usable antiques as well. But that's definitely one way to go. Hello, Isabel. Pay. I presume you mean the energy companies. If you don't pay, you're just going to have more and more bills racked up against you. Hello, Hyper Picker. It's crazy people shutting down car boot sales since every day people would get presents there for Christmas and stuff for themselves. Things going up should be more of a call for them. I think the government are closing a lot of them down. Bridgend, just in my local area alone, in the last 2 years, we've lost Bridgend car boot sale because the council didn't renew the lease. We've lost Bessemer, which has been going for 20, 30 years. They reckon it was down to insurance, but I don't know. Nobody actually knows what's going on, but Bessemer's gone. The council just bought the ground to build a new school on the grounds that Splot car boot sale is sitting on. And they're only moving the school from Tremorfa, a mile and a half down the road. What's going on? I actually have no idea. I don't think the government want the car boot sales anymore. I think there's so many of these online car boot sales now, and the government get a slice of the pie. Because people, when they're on their selling, the earnings are going through the bank. People, if they're investigated, they have to pay the fees. And if you're on there, you have to be registered as businesses if you go past a certain income level, things like that. So I think there is an intention there of shutting them down. But let's be honest, car boot sales, they're brilliant for people buying cheap product. If you watch my films, you've seen I've been buying Christmas presents off the car boot sale all year, getting ready. And I sell on them, and I buy product myself for my business and everything off them. So for me, they're needed. But I have no idea where we're going now. There's going to be no car boot sales left, but I don't. I think the government are doing away with them on purpose. I don't think they want them. I really don't. And they're also a massive way of keeping stuff out the landfills, isn't it? Perfect recycling. There'll always be people who are perfect collectors. What did I miss there? Hang on. I think my chat jumped. It did. Thought of a job, lots on eBay. Trouble is with eBay, they take a lot of expense. And I mean a lot of expense. That it took me years to get off eBay. It really did. It cost them too much for all the court cases. Where do you think the money's going to come from for all these court cases? And in the end, they'll claim it back because they'll put a charge on people's houses. They will. They can do that. So once they take them to court, they'll come in and freeze and take any assets, cars, or anything they have in the house. And if there's nothing else left, once they've shut the supply off, so you've got no gas or electric, they'll then put a charge wherever you owe them on the house. So they may not get that money for 20 years. But eventually, when you sell the house, you've got to pay 20 years plus interest on your debt. It's just not worth it. If you can't pay it, as hard as it's going to be, turn it off. That's the only thing you can do is turn it off. Buy blankets. Maybe get some halogen heaters. As for lights in the evening, you can get solar-powered lights that you can charge up through the day and use in the nights, things like that. But if you can't pay your bill, don't use it. Because they will take you to court and they will take your stuff. I'm telling you now. This can't pay, won't pay isn't going to work a thing. It really isn't. I read that one. I'm buyer only. My worry is that in a few months' time, sellers overprice their items on eBay. The trouble is, it's not so much sellers overprice their items, is sellers have got to try and cover their costs and make a profit. So when you take into account the fuel's gone that expensive, the packing materials have gone expensive, all the fees have gone up, the gas and electric at the house has gone up, they got to try and cover it. And if they're not buying the stuff, what they're going to do. That brings me to a point I talked about in my blog, which is basically you have two ways of looking at it. Whilst the car boot sales are still running, because most of them are seasonal, one or two things going to happen. Normally, people come to a car boot sale, they chuck their stuff on the table and they just bang it out for a few pounds, and you get some really good bargains. But one or two things is going to happen. People are either A, going to come to the car boot sale because they need the money, they're going to be overpricing the stuff, or they're going to actually research what they got to try and get the best money out of it they can. Or there's going to be tons and tons of people come in and flood in the car boot sales to try and raise some money, and it's going to devalue the stock anyway. Whereas stock's actually going to become available, it's still going to be, harder to sell. But what I've seen happening is, from my experience, is that people are actually researching it. I'm hearing a lot more, it's that price on eBay. Sell it on eBay yourself then, because that's a nightmare. And there's a lot of competition and there's a lot of expenses involved in selling on eBay. But I'm hearing that a lot more. I don't know if you all buy from car boot sales and that, but I'm hearing a lot, it's that on eBay, so I want this. But that's not what I'm willing to pay. By the way, hello, Guaz. Hello, Isabel again. Yeah, collectors will always collect. Collectors will always collect, and people who've got money will always buy the items they want. But 90%, I'd say, of the general customers that we sell to are general public. People who stumble on your site or on eBay and they see a vase they take a liking to, or a picture they like, and they go, I'll hang that on the wall. General Joe public. They buy spur of the moment, spontaneous buy-in. That's all going to stop. It really is. So then what you're going to have to do, you're going to have to either, as somebody's already suggested, maybe go more collectibles and antiques that are saleable or can still be used, rather than just a decorative object to sit on a shelf. Or, I don't know, maybe make sure you're buying cheaper. Don't take gambles, don't take risks. What was that? Past the comment for the car boot sales. Hello, Jeremy. Spot market closing down is going to affect a lot of people's lives. Market currently none other than Cardiff. Well, as you know, I actually been buying right away through the last 2 or 3 years minimum. I've been just focusing on spot market. So for me, it's going to knock me for 6. I've been some weeks spend £1,000 in spot market. So that's my money that those people are not going to have. I'm not going to have the stock that was coming from there. I'm going to have to travel, which means more expense, more time, more cost, more wear on the tires and all the rest of it on the vehicle. It's everything. Generations of collectors are dying out. Walter, yeah, I agree. I can't read that, mate. I have no idea what that word is. Throw away by new mentality, hence charity shops years ago, people couldn't afford to throw away. I don't know what that word means, mate. That's my dyslexia at its best. But I agree with you. We are at the moment living in a throwaway society. You can't, let's be honest, you can't buy out charity shops. It's cheaper to go to a supermarket and buy a t-shirt or something than it is to buy from charity shops these days. And as for collectibles and antiques, they don't come into charity shops, very rare, unless it's a mistake, because they have experts at the front end, or rather at the back end, that stop the stuff, come into the front, and it goes off to eBay or off to auction themselves for the charity, which then takes you go to the auctions to buy. Because if there's no car boot sales in Cardiff, the only option left to buy in Cardiff is to go to Cardiff City auctions or Anthemian auctions. But then you're buying job lots of crap for 1 or 2 items, which is how my garage and my sheds and outbuildings all got filled up in the first place. Because if there's no car boot sales, what do? Do I just go to the auction, spend all the money, take the 2 things out I want, and just tell him I don't want the rest? And let him put it back through? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that one. Where are we at? Am I missing something there? My chart keeps jumping all over the place. Bloody nightmare. Right, so that's the comment. And then we went to that one. I don't think they'll all be trying to sell stuff quickly for cash. But will they? If people have got a limited resource, they're going to need to raise what they can for them items. So truthfully, I don't know if they're going to be selling stuff quick for cash. And even if they're selling stuff quick for cash, you have to be so much more careful with the buy-in now, because people don't want to buy it anyway, because 90% of them are struggling for cash themselves. We already live in a society now where minimalism is the in thing. Now, what that means is, rather than have a house full of porcelain and glass and things, people have a nice, clean, tidy, empty house with 1 or 2 focus pieces. They might have a nice picture on the wall or a nice vase, and that's it. That's all they have. They have a statement piece, and that's all they have. The collectors are few and far between. That's why Victorian ceramics now are in the toilet. If you went back 20 years ago, a Staffordshire figure, it cost you £200, £300, £400. Now you can buy that same figure for £3 to £5. You really can. So you need to buy more carefully, buy what people are still willing to collect. There'll always be a market if you want to buy, let's say, for example, small objects of silver or rare pieces. Now, what I tend to try and do is I focus on rarities. I go for things that, even if I can't sell them now, they're so rare that there'll always be a market for them. Real nice bits of silver, bits of porcelain, Nangaru, or Georgian drinking glasses, things like that. Things that will always have a market, even if the market at the moment is dead. I've had a load of people ask me, why don't I start my own car boot sale app? To be honest with you, I'm not sure. A few people actually said this week that they were offered Splot back because they're the asbestos under it, but I don't know how true that is, but they're not taking it back anyway, as far as I know. But no. Andy, who lost Bessemer, was trying for ages to find a suitable location where the council will give you permission to run the boot sale, because it has to contain sufficient grounds to run the boot sale. It has to have sufficient parking, has to have sufficient access without blocking major roads. It's everything. There's so much involved. Then you've got insurance, and it takes a long time to build up a car boot sale. It really does. It's just not viable. The expenses now would be absolutely ridiculous. Hello, Sue. Finally made a live. Well, to be honest with you, you've got to be real on me, because let's be honest, as I've said, my business at the moment hasn't been affected online. In the markets, I'm seeing a major drop off. Now, I got 2 friends, Sharon and Rob, and I go around the car boot sales with them, so I have company when I'm selling. And Sharon actually buys modern pieces, so she'll buy a Ted Baker bag or Ted Baker toiletries, things like that. And she sells better than me. They sell whatever she buys in the day, they sell in the same day enough. They're only making £2, £3, £4 on an item, where I might, buy an item for £1 and sell it for £200 or £300 eventually. But you know what? I go to a car boot sale. I only take things I don't want. But most of the time now, I'm down to selling my stuff for £1 and £2 because I just want rid of it and I can't find the buyers for it. Whereas they take £200, £300, £400 in a day on modern stuff. They really do. They're doing fabulous on modern. Yeah, it is absolutely wonderful to have you make a live, Sue. Hello, Anya. Sorry, in the lateness. That is, yeah, okay. You've got a point there. It winds me up how many will happily pay up for cheap Chinese stuff, being bargains, but will haggle over. Do you know, if you go to IKEA or to Argos, you'll buy chipwood, compressed chips of wood with a veneer over the top, and you spend £400 or £500 for a chest of drawers. You go to an auction house, you can buy an 18th century oak chest of drawers for £200 or £300. Solid wood that's already lasted 200 years and will last another 200 years. Yet people would rather go and buy a piece of chipwood brand new from a shop that's going to fall apart the minute you move it from one bedroom to another. Car boot sales is a thing been around since a long time back. It's crazy if government doing that. Believe it or not, the car boot sales have only been around since the early 80s. They really have, which might sound a long time, but it's actually not. There's always been, I suppose, what's the word I'm looking for? Bartering. There's always been bartering where people go to markets and they barter, and they may take something and offer services or offer someone else in return rather than money, things like that. But actual car boot sales in the format we got now, I think it's like the 80s, early 80s, they started and became a big thing. But I don't know if they're going to hit another 5-10 years. I really don't. Yeah. You want to know what's criminal? The headline, I don't know how many of you saw the headline. Lurpak butter reached £10 a pack, and the supermarkets were putting security tags on a tub of butter. Now, if that's not criminal, I don't know what is. And Heinz baked beans, Tesco's actually took them out of the shop because of the sheer amount of money they wanted per tin. Now, that's just crazy. That is, what do we call them, staples? And they've even reached a level that people can't afford. I turned around to Jane and I said, if they think I'm paying £10 for a tub of butter, I'll just stop having bread and butter altogether. And I love bread and butter, but there's no way I'm paying that. Boot sales are the best thing. People need them even more for so many reasons. You would think the governments would want the boot sales to run, because what's going to happen to everything, all these people, when they're sorting their houses out, they're going to give it to charity shops if the charity shops even want it. Because let's be honest, I take stuff to charity shops. If I go to an auction house and I buy all the job lots I want and I take out half a dozen things, I'll go to a charity shop now and I'll go, do you want this lot? And they say no, we don't want it. Genuinely and or not, charity shops are turning more away than they're accepting. They are so fussy now on what they take in. So what's going to happen? It's going to go straight up to the civic amenity sites, the recycling centres. But then the council have also made that hard, because if you haven't got a driver's license proving your address now, you can only use the tip that you live next to. So people are going to just start dumping on the mountains again and things like that. Now, I'm a member of the, I follow RCT Council on Facebook, and I left a stinking comment the other day and told them basically they were scum, because some woman had stacked a few bits of rubbish up against her house on the pavement, waiting for someone to come and collect them, and they fined her for fly tipping, even though it was leaned up against her front wall, not outside. She didn't have a front garden, so it was leaned up against her house on the pavement, waiting for the van to come pick it up and put it in. And they fined her for fly tipping, £470. I told them they were scum, and I don't care. People are struggling to eat, and they were bragging about it. They said some man had been charged £5,000 for dumping his van load up on the mountain. I thought, all right, fair enough. If you're going to do that, that's your own fault. And then underneath that was an article where they'd fined a woman £470 for standing a bit of rubbish up against her wall, while front of the house, while they were waiting for it to be collected, and they were bragging about it. So I told them what I thought of them. People can't afford to eat and they're bragging they're finding someone £470 for that. But what do you think is going to happen? If people can't sell the stuff at car boot sales, they're going to start dumping it. They really are. And there's going to be a lot of people like myself that are going to start struggling. If there's no car boot sales, then I'm going to have to start going to auction houses or buy privately. The costs are going to go up. My cost of my stock is going to go up, so my prices are going to go up. Yes, absolutely fine, Anya, love. No problem at all. Yeah, I've actually got a smart meter being fitted on the 16th, so we can see where we're going. But if they think I'm paying £1,100 a month for gas and electric, they can take a hike. I've already said to the children, if you think you're on your games all day, every day, and all night, every night, and running them bills up, I said, you've got nothing coming. Because as a business, I have to make sure I stay profitable. And as I've said already, my fuel has doubled. This year, my cost of fuel have doubled. Cost of postage has gone up. There's a massive strike now with Royal Mail where they're asking for like £1 billion across the board increase for wages and things. So where do you think that's going to come from? It's going to come from us, the resellers. The parcel price is going to go up again. I'm not being funny. I've just spent £113 to send one parcel. I'm not kidding you. I'm not lying. Where is it? No, that's not it. Bear with me, I'm going to show you now. £113 they just charged me for one parcel. But that's one parcel. £113. Granted, it's overseas, but I find most of my sales on my website do go overseas because it's not available in America, things like that. A lot of our antiques are not available out there, so they pay the price and have it shipped. Now, that was a £300 item and £113 postage. How the hell can you justify £113 to send one parcel? That's what they charged me. But yeah, all these costs, they add up. Now, that £113, if that was still only like £40 postage, they'd have been willing to pay more for the item. So that £113, it wasn't my bill. They paid that bill. But let's be honest, if the postage goes up, people are going to deduct that off what they're willing to pay for the item, because they'll look at an item and they'll go, right, well, I'm willing to pay X amount for that delivered to my door. And that'll take into account the postage. So any increase in postage is going to be decrease in profit for us. And any increase in postage is going to be more bills for you on eBay, because eBay charge you 10% of the postage. So yeah, Royal Mail are striking again at the moment, or talking about strikes where they're asking for another £1 billion across the board on wages. Everything's going up. But look at that, £113 for one parcel. But yeah, as Heather just said there, stop paying on direct debits, pay for what you use. Seems to be the advice. And try and cut back on what you're using. Do you know what I never do? I'll give you an example. When I'm doing my work, I'll start in the morning, I'll turn my photograph temp on, and I will leave it on all day. And I'll be at the computer and I'll be working, I'll go back, photograph, come back. Do you know, now I turn it off. Never done that, ever. It's the same. I've never turned my TV and my microwave and things off standby. Everything's always switched on at the plugs, and I just, with a remote when I need it. Not anymore. We really have started now turning everything off at the plugs. I turn my lights off. Do you know, I actually didn't realize, once I photographed an item, it's like 15, 20, 30 minutes before I go back to rephotograph something else. That's another 30 minutes every time to take 30 seconds worth of photos. It was really quite thick leaving it on. Hello, Sean. Most collectors are in highly disposable income bracket. Lots of retired with stable incomes. The end that will get hit first is the fashion side of things. I disagree. What I find with myself is a lot of my customer is general public, spur of the moment. The car boot sales have already been hit. The people with low income have already stopped buying. They really have. We see that at the car boot sales. Ian, he's watching, and he'll be the same. He'll say the same. Literally, I promise you, I'm not lying, right? They come into the car boot sale in Splot in the morning. They're asking the price of something. You're saying 50p in a pound. They're walking away. They're standing around until the end of the day where all the house clearance boys shout everything's free in the hope they can have that 50p item for free. I'm not slagging them off for doing it. I'm just saying that's how bad the situation is. But it's my high-end items, they're being sold to people with disposable income, 100% guaranteed, or people who don't even care about money. Let's be honest. If you're paying £300 for a pair of candlesticks and £113 postage, money isn't an issue to you. But the average collectible and sale on eBay and things like that is £10, £20. And that generally goes to general public. Somebody who wants to collect a little bit, or somebody who likes something, and they don't mind 10 or 20 quid, but that's going to end. They're not going to have them 10 or 20 quids. I can see this is going to get quite nasty, to be honest with you. It's quite scary. I'm planning on going abroad this winter because it's cheaper staying in self-catering apartment than is paying the energy bills back here. And you know what? I can actually believe that. I really can. Now, there's a lot. I don't know if you're on benefits. I think you can get solar panels and house insulation where they insulate the outside of the house and things like that free. We don't qualify, unfortunately. We got to pay for it. They wanted something like, I think it was 35,000 to do the outside of my house in that insulation thing they do. It's ridiculous. But there are things you can do if you're having any help. You try for the solar powers, things like that. Now, we're only concentrating on the gas and electric, but yeah, but let's be honest, what about the food? Food's gone through the roof. Food's gone through the roof. Petrol's gone through the roof. Everything you buy, you know. After the COVID, I done some renovation work on my house to put it up for sale. We had 3 houses between us. We had the house I lived in with my first wife. My partner had her house she lived in, and then we had the house we live in together. Well, we both sold the other 2 houses, but I done renovation work on them to put them up for sale. Do you know I paid £80 a bag of plaster just to get a bag of plaster? Because you couldn't get a bag of plaster nowhere. £80 they were charging for 1 bag. Wood now is gone. It used to be, you could do some proper building work for a few hundred quid. My mother's just cladded the front of a shed that they've had built, and it cost them £2,000 just for some timbers to clad the front. Everything's gone crazy. It doesn't matter what it is, it's gone crazy. So if you want any repairs done, if you need a boiler service, anything, it's all going to be a lot more expensive than it has been. God forbid we start seeing some hidden bill expenses coming in. Lancashire, it seems that the councils are hell-bent on running down car boot sales and markets. The councils have wanted to do away with car boot sales and markets for years. They've been trying and succeeding slowly. They don't want people dealing in cash anymore. That's the upshot of it. Because cash is unmonitorable. They can't monitor cash. With the likes of my website or the likes of eBay, every single penny you make is electronic, so they can track it. So you couldn't hide anything if you wanted to. That's why they want rid of the car boot sales, because that way they get all the income from it. They get their cut. Do you know, the only way it can be described, Sue, right, is like the poll tax of the 80s. Or, when interest rates were like 13 and 14% on a house, people just can't afford it. It's absolutely ridiculous. Why the government haven't stepped in and stopped all these energy increases and that when they're making triple the profit they were a year ago? They clearly don't need to put the prices up. And yet the prices are going up again before the end of this year and again in January. They're now doing quarterly increases rather than yearly increases. The price cap they're on about isn't even a cap, is it? Let's be honest. What's the price cap if they're going to move it every quarter? And I don't know how they're justifying doubling the prices. My unit price on there for the last bill was 26 pence a unit on electric. They've moved to OVO now, and OVO want 53 pence a unit. So you work it out, that's over double. So if my bill was 1,000 there, it's going to be 2,000 now, and then they're going to put it up again next year. But yeah, they want 53 pence a unit now, and some people are paying as much as 60 and 70 pence to fix it for like 2 and 3 years. It's crazy. Something needs to happen. Maybe we all need to just turn it off and get candles, and then see the prices start come tumbling when they're not making any money because no one wants their energy. It doesn't sound very good all around. To be honest with you, I had no intention of doing this film as a scaremongering film. I have actually wrote the blog on the article as well. It's more designed for people to focus on, understand the expenses, understand the possible problems that come in, and possibly business plan a solution. As in business plan, cut your costs, business plan, reduce the cost of your stock. Any tips that you can really to lower the prices and costs. One thing I didn't put in my blog that's been shared already was, try and find more useful objects to sell as opposed to decorative. That's a good one. But either way, I'd be honest with you, I'm quite scared for next year because I don't think this year is going to be the problem. I think this year we'll all be fine up to Christmas. People will use their credit cards, and it's when the winter bills start coming in, and then the bills from Christmas start coming in, and then people are going to really see the struggle. Now, it comes to some when you've got the government's giving out cost of living grants. Apparently, we're all having a £400 grant. I haven't heard nothing about it off them, but apparently we're having a £400 grant. But if you're on benefits and things, people have already been having grants. 360 something pound, I think Catherine had not that long ago. But they are doing help for people on benefits now, but I believe everybody's having a grant, whether on benefits or not, now before Christmas at £400, but I'm not sure how true that is. The council organise a flea market anyway? Nope. We're not that lucky. I do fear for many resellers that don't have the knowledge. Charity shops will be a hard way to make a living this winter. The booths will be closed and the auctions are not a kind place if you're new. Yeah. If I remember right, you're in quite a rural area too, like myself. It's all right if you're in the cities. You'll have access to lots of shops and things. My little village has got one charity shop that banned dealers a year ago or 2 years ago. I actually don't know if they're still banned, but they banned traders from buying out them. They didn't want our money weren't good enough. I've been to the charity shop up in Merthyr that Dave was watching and suggested, and didn't really rate it. It's more a council-run clearance than a charity, but yeah, I didn't do very well there. But it is going to be a hard year. Once the boot sales are gone for the season, it's going to be a hard winter. Charity shops rely on the community for stock, but sell it back to the community at a bumped up price. We need a we all need a revolution. I agree 100%. It's awful about Splot and the general situation. Indoor events would be an answer, but sounds like that's not an option. We've got one flea market in Abergavenny, and one of the main dealers who supplies me with really good stock sells up there. But if he can't get the stock, he's not going to have it to supply to me. So I don't know. No character. Okay, not sure what that is. Let me start it out. I done a massive video on well, I've done a few videos on the charity shops, but the one I done when they banned trade, oh, that was a good one. Are you getting my comments? I think I'm getting your comments too. Talk a lot of sense as usual. I'm just trying to keep it real, to be honest with you, because I genuinely do have a genuine concern. Now, I'm in a fortunate situation, as in everything on my site is paid for. My site is paid for, so I don't pay no costs. I have setup costs and running costs and things, but I don't pay no sales costs and things like that, like other people do on eBay. So if it comes to the point where there's a major crunch, I can stop buying if I want to, and I can just sell what I've got in the sheds, in the lockups. I can carry on doing that. I'm in a very fortunate situation, and not everybody is. People need, and I mean this, and I say it from my heart, you need to start planning now. Plan ways of cutting down your expenses. If you've got to go and do parcels, maybe do parcels 3 days a week instead of driving out every single day. If you do a boot sale once a week, try and plan your parcels on that day. Little things. If you buy boxes, instead go to Tesco's and Asda's and ask them for the second-hand boxes and use free boxes. If you're worried about the advertising, open them up, turn them inside out, bit of sellotape, and you've then got a clean box to do it with the advertising on the inside. I've done videos on that. But you need to really plan. And this isn't really just for people, resellers like us. I think everybody needs to start planning on how they're going to cut their expenses down. And certainly for resellers, we need to start looking at maybe doing monthly accounts rather than quarterly or yearly accounts, so you can keep an eye if something's getting away from you, or even weekly accounts. Keep an eye on all your costs, your spending on your stock. I can't be any more honest than say you need to have two eyes open and just watch the costs. Keep an eye on the costs now of everything, and understand you also need enough money to live on. I always worked on 30% for the cost of stock, 30% for the running costs, so your fuel and any other bills you have, your bubble wraps and all the rest of it, 30% on wages. I never took a wage, I just put my money back into the stock, but if you're doing it, it's 30% on wages, and 10% you'd save for unexpected bills that come in. Because I guarantee you there's always a broken down car, a van that fails the MOT, Ian, or a computer blows up, or your camera breaks, or your phone breaks, and you've got to have these things to work. So if you don't save that 10% as well, then if something comes up like that, it's enough to put you on your ass. It really is. So you really need to plan. And if you're not a reseller, you need to start budgeting and planning and thinking ahead. We've already dropped down from, branded names like Heinz and things like that to supermarket own brands on stuff. You've got to be done. You just can't keep paying the prices people are asking. It is astronomical. But I've been sitting down, just thinking of ways to cut the costs down while still buying the best quality stock I can for the money I can. I always work on, if you've got good quality stock, you can sell it. But even that's not always the case now. And by next year, I think that's going to be even harder again. Studio art and original artworks. I always buy original art. I like to buy things that people have had to learn and put quality and experience and years of work into. You earn a living selling antiques online and would be lost without Kempton. I haven't been to Kempton for years. I loved Kempton. Twice a month. That's London when I Kempton. You should take a look. I used to travel. I used to work Kempton Market. They used to sound that horn at 6 a.m, and you weren't allowed to trade until they sounded that horn. Oh yeah, I used to work Kempton. I used to do Swinderby, Newark, Derby, Antiques in the Park. You name it, I'd done them all. I'd done my circuit of antique fairs for years and years and years. I used to sleep in the back of the estate car. Then I bought a small tent, and I used to sleep in a little tent when we were up to Swinderby and Newark, because they were there. You'd stay there 3-4 days at a time and then go from one to the other. Done them all. MCM is still popular with the younger folk. Mid-century modern, right? Got that one. Yes. The trouble is with mid-century modern is everybody's looking for it. So the supply is really hard. And if you do get it, you more often than not got to pay for it. So you don't make the profit margin you do. But mid-century modern is the hot ticket at the moment. Definitely so, 100%. You ain't the only one overthinking things, Isabel. Honestly, if you have any idea how much thinking I've been putting into this, because as I said, everything's running okay at the moment, but I've seen it at the car boot sales and literally giving my stuff away. Do you know, and I'm not lying, I've been at the store and someone's picked stuff up and said how much. I've said £1, and they've started counting the pennies, and I've given them the item. Literally said, just take it. One, because I didn't want £1 worth of pennies, and two, because they clearly, needed it more than me. And that is genuinely what the car boot sales are like at the moment. If you work car boot sales, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Especially if you sell in the lower end of items. Nick and Andrea, I don't know how many people watch Nick and Andrea. They've been paying and developing an app. And the idea of this app is for people to do their own yard sale advertisement. So, was it Jumble Trails, I think they called, where people have a yard sale and they register with this trail, and then people can go on the app, and then you can just drive around, stopping at people's houses and buy from them in the front garden. That's an app they're doing. They haven't launched it yet, but I believe from last time I spoke to Nick that it wasn't far off finished. So that may be something people can start doing. Mid-century modern again. Number one rule in reseller business nowadays is not to buy things that are not selling eBay on a regular basis. Rare things are no-go. Better buy 100 kilogram of labeled everyday office clothes cheaper. See, I tend to go the other way. I go for rare. What I find, and I agree with you to a degree, I really do, but for my business plan, I go rare, or try to go as rare as I can, so that I don't have to be the cheapest person out there to sell it. If you buy in everyday items, the only way to sell it is to be the cheapest supplying that product. With what I buy, a lot of what I buy are one-offs, pieces, studio pieces or artist pieces that you're not going to find another one. So if you want, you've got to pay my price. But I agree with you. Definitely in that sense, as buy in bulk, everyday office clothes and things, office equipment, things like that. It's certainly a way to go. But there are things you need to start staying away from. Maybe I'll have to start doing videos of things that are not currently in fashion. That might be an idea. Things that I walk past the car boot sales and think, no, there's no way I'm going to sell that. Test the waters with a live auction. Yeah, Nick and Andrea did a live auction, didn't they? About a month ago, something like that. It may be a way to go. To be honest with you, I'm doing okay. So I don't want to change and add more to my workload. My workload is already astronomical, especially with the baby. I can't wait for September when she goes to school full time, so I can actually work extra 3 days a week. Because at the moment, my partner is a care worker working nights. Everybody in the home has had COVID, so she's doing extra shifts. And when she works, I have to have the baby in the day for her to sleep, which means I'm working and looking after the baby, which is really, really hard. She's so demanding. Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful, but oh God, she's demanding. She won't sit down and watch cartoons or play on her own and let me work. I have to be on the floor playing dolls with her. There's no two ways about it. So I can't wait for September, but I just can't see me adding more to my workload. I can't keep up with the work I've got now. I really can't. car boots are now part of our tradition. I hope the council fail and the car boot sales keep going for another decade or more. But you got like Facebook Marketplace, things like that now. I get no success out of buying or selling on there, but I know plenty of people that do. I think it's all moving away from the cash in a field. Unfortunately, I just hope the council don't get their way. Mid to late 80s, not sure what that one's for, but hello, welcome. To give actually Hispanic spanner. You have to explain that one, Anya. Not sure anything. Okay, I don't know what I'm missing there. Ridiculous price. Some supermarkets are having a laugh, rip off merchants as usual. Oh yeah, don't I know it. Do you know, our food shop, we used to go out, we got a big family. So we do one big shop, £200-400 once a month, and then Jane would go out buying all the smalls we need. But bear in mind, there's a lot of us in the house. You know, there's 7 children and us too. So our food bills are expensive, but we've noticed now, one carrier bag is like £40-50, where one carrier bag used to be like a tenner. Everything's gone crazy. If Birmingham Council tried to ban car boots, their lives would not be worth living. They're not banning them here. What they're doing, they're not renewing their licenses. Or at least that's what happened to Bridgend. I don't know what happened, whether it was an insurance issue or what with Bessemer. And with Splot, they didn't take the license away, they just bought the land. Change direct debit to a standing order. That's so they can't, yeah. If you pay for anything by direct debit, the company have the legal right to request any amount they want. So for argument's sake, if you pay your electricity by direct debit and you're paying £200-300 a month, the energy company can all of a sudden say, well, hang on a minute, that estimate doesn't really cover your usage anymore. We're going to start asking 500. I think they have to give you like 14 days notice, but they haven't got to do anything else. They can just go to your bank and say, now we want 500. Whereas if you have a standing order, that is an order to your bank to pay a specific creditor a certain amount every month on that date or the closest date after it. But it doesn't deviate from the amount you've set. That's the difference between a standing order and a direct debit. Get rid of that chest freezer, you'll save $400 a year. Kids gaming PCs 150, 200 watts per hour. Well, my usage on this bill was 3,500 units. That's what they put it down as, was it? Bear with. I think it was 3,500 units we used. Standard energy was 952 kilowatt hours, and then 2,433 kilowatt hours. As for the chest freezer, nope, I can't get rid of the chest freezer. It is a Class A or Grade A chest freezer. It's supposed to be energy efficient, but we have a lot of frozen food in the house. Fresh food doesn't last anywhere near as long as frozen food or tins. So, yeah, I've got to keep a freezer. But I agree with you with the games. The kids are on the games. I'm not being funny. I caught my son on the game 10-6 this morning. He was still up playing his game. I went upstairs, wiped the floor with him, come downstairs, unplugged the modem and took it to bed for me. 10-6 this morning, he was still on the game, on his PC. So, yeah, the gaming thing's got to change. Royal Mail are on strike from Friday to Wednesday. Yeah, I knew they were striking. They want £1 billion or something crazy. I understand and appreciate they want a fair wage for their job, so don't think if anybody's watching from Royal Mail and or works with Royal Mail and you want a fair wage, there's no problem with that. But did you see the bill I paid? £113 for one parcel. That's not fair either. It really isn't. I spend about £1,000 a month with Royal Mail. Genuinely. That's just my business. Best thing we did was get a smart meter as it found. Best thing we ever did was get a smart meter as it found we're on the wrong tariff. Right, okay. You're on the wrong tariff. Well, I'm having the smart meter on the 16th of September just to see where the bills are coming from. Sharon and Rob said to me Sunday when we were chatting Sunday morning that what I use in a month, they use in a year. How upsetting is that? Bosses are still paying their shareholders and pulling ridiculous salaries, and it isn't Royal Mail anymore. It's always the people at the top get the money. It's the same with the charity shops. If you look at the charity shops, and I actually talked about that, the people who own and run the charity shops are taking £1 million bonuses. Out of the charities, half the time, it's like 5 or 10% of whatever gets spent in the shop reaches the charity. How is that even a charity? That's just a business where they're taking ridiculous salaries to run the business. And then they donate 5 or 10%. I now take my pictures during the best part of the day for natural light. A sunny day makes such a difference in photo quality. I gotta be honest, my photos are really good. But I got a photograph tent with LED lighting. And I do get some good photos, but I would never recommend anybody sacrifice the lighting for photographs. If you can do one with daylight, fabulous. I live in Wales. we don't see sun. It's all cloud and rain. But a photograph is what sells your item. So you really got to, that's a necessity. Good to pull out all plugs out except essential appliances. That's basically what we've started doing in the nights too, is we switch everything off in the nights. I always get into conflict with charity shops. What idiots with no retail experience, no clear pricing. If they think you're a dealer, treat you different than the customer for educating yourself. Yeah. I used to have some charity shops that welcome trade. And when I'd go in them, they'd go, oh, fabulous, I've been waiting to see you. I got this, this, and this. They know the public won't pay the price of it. And they put it aside and they say, that's what we got. That's the price we want. I say, yeah, fabulous, no problem. But then there's other charity shops like the one in Mountain Ash that banned me and all the rest of the traders. Why? They reckon on the grounds that we were depriving people in the area of stuff. I buy antiques. If people are in a charity shop needing clothes and things like that, fair enough, fair comment. But an antique is not a necessity. Neither is a piece of jewelry is a necessity for a charity shop to sell to someone on low income. So, yeah. Government wants to know how much you got and how much you're spending. If you got more than you're declaring, they want to know where it's coming from. So cash is a disease to the government. I agree with you totally, mate. 100%. They want everything. They don't want cash. They want everything done now on electronic. They really do. Don't knock charity shops. Still got overheads. To be honest with you, I don't knock the charity shops. I really don't. But what you have to understand is charity shops have got overheads, but they have reduced rates where we have full rates. They have reduced electric and gas and now where we didn't. They have their product for free. They don't pay for any of their product. Their biggest expense, believe it or not, is management. That is the biggest expense in charity shops is management. And more often than not, the management are taking such a huge cut, and yet the people look down the nose at resellers because they're looking to make a couple of pounds on something they bought. So I can appreciate where David's coming from to a degree there. Because what you got to realize is, it doesn't matter whose money goes in that till to the charity. That's the idea. That charity shop is there to provide money for the charity they've selected. So whose money goes in the till, should it matter? It's still money. But they do actually get quite, some of them get quite rude and nasty if they realize you're a reseller. And I've never hidden the fact I'm a reseller or an antique dealer. If I go in there, you can spot a dealer anyway, mile off. We all know what we're looking at. And they'll ask me, are you trading? I say, yeah. I've been asked to leave by many a charity shop because they don't want trade in it. You won't right, they hang around for free. They don't just take what they want. They fill their bags just because it's free. Yeah. That's the comment I made earlier, where people have come to my stall, asked for something, I've said 50 pence, they've left it there in the hope that at the end of the day I shout everything free, because that's what I used to do. I used to go to the Splot car boot sale with a car full, sell what I could. At the end of the day, I'd pick out any really nice pieces, just shout free, just get rid of it. I used to do it all the time. Ian does it. Everybody does it down there. And they got so accustomed to everyone doing it now that they just expect it free. So they just stand back and wait for it to be free, unfortunately. Government stopped help for solar panels ages ago. No, not apparently now. I've had loads of things come up on my Facebook now where there's new grants out available. So definitely, if you might, I don't know if you're eligible, Sue, but there's certainly new grants out, because they're all over Facebook at the moment. People advertising, saying come and get, because of the energy crisis and that, come and get solar panels free. So definitely check it out. OVO's my supplier too. That's why I changed to standing order. Yeah, OVO. I don't know how your bills are, but 53 pence a unit they want now in OVO for electric. That's double what I'm paying at them, or double what I paid on my last bill, which was 26 pence. Nottingham here, so the council are putting solar up now. Yes, they are putting solar up now. They are actually giving grants again for solar panel. But what I don't understand, our government have got a wind farm and they sell our electric to other countries. So why not just turn it around and keep the electric for ourselves? It make more sense. Or invest into is it not just wind? You can have the energy with the current, with the tides coming in and out. There's loads of energy, different energy things they can invest in, and provide a country with our own energy instead of relying on Russia and oil and all the rest of it. They need to do something. When people start getting hungry and cold, that's when it will all come to a head. I don't think it's when. I think people are already. I had read an article last week where people who are actually using food banks now has got to a level where there's no longer food banks. You can now apply to your council, your local council, for food parcels. And genuinely, I'm not kidding you. If you go onto your local council website, if you need food, you can actually apply for them to give you a free food parcel. That's how bad the situation is out there for people. And that's what this whole video was about, is how much of a priority is an antique or collectible to somebody who can't feed their own family. And the answer to that is extremely low. Therefore, you need business plans in place to survive this, what can only be described as a major recession or a financial crisis. Tips will soon be selling goods with no boot fares, and councils get all the second-hand goods to sell, closing out the competition before they open their operations. Councils already sell everything. They already do. There was a time when in Tree Lewis, they used to just go there with the dump trucks, they tip it out, and people would go up there and they'd sift through it and they'd take it away, and loads of it didn't get buried because of that. Now, I believe it's all the metal goes to recycling, all the wood goes to be wood chipped and recycled. I believe they already have some shops at these recycling plants where they sell the stuff themselves, so it is already happening. But yeah, more and more is going to end up in the tip, and they'll have more and more to sell. You'll have to invest in a mobile home, travel, do the boots. I would love a mobile home. Not for the boots, though. But God, I'd love a camper van. I should have bought one. Should have bought one years ago. I was offered one for about £5,000 years ago. It was an older model, but it was mint. Now they're up like 30, 40,000. I can't afford one. I'm certainly not in that level where I could afford a mobile home, but I'd love to have one. You converted a minibus. Oh, God, I'm jealous. I am seriously jealous. Right, I need to head off. Sorry. No problem at all, Anya. No problem, darling. Hello, Nick. That's Nick and Andrea there we were mentioning earlier about the app with the trail. Maybe you can post, I don't know if how far away you are from putting that out, Nick. Or maybe we'll do a live together one day in a couple of weeks and we'll have a chat. But we mentioned the app because of all the car boot sales shutting down, maybe the yard sales and things on your trail. Hyperpicker, hello. Had to pay quite a bit just on a piece of clothing for myself in one charity shop. I found a new piece of clothing, brand new, cheaper in their shop. That says it all, doesn't it? I genuinely don't buy from charity shops anymore because of the cost involved. I can actually buy off other antique dealers, cheaper than I can buy off charity shops. That's a true fact. I can go to an antique fair, I can go to Malvern or something, and an antique dealer there will sell me a piece of porcelain or a piece of glass, knowing it's worth £100. He'll say, well, I want 20 quid for it, actually. Don't care what you're going to get for it. But yet, if you go to a charity shop and it's worth £100, they want like 80. And that is a true story. I buy more off trade than I do anything. True about charity shops, they will be having to stop overpricing stuff which was free, get real and stop paying so many office staff, except push paper around. Do you know when I had that big bust up with the charity shop in Mountain Ash? I'm not going to name them. I don't see the point, but I'll tell you the story. I went on to a company's house to find out how much they actually were making. And they made enough to buy a new building and renovate a new building. But, you know, 2 shops, that's all they own, 2 shops, they run 2 shops. They had something like 160 employees. I don't know. Because it was only ever 3 or 4 people in the shops. But when I was looking at it, it was crazy. If you actually went on company's house and looked how many employees they had for running 2 little shops on the charity, it was crazy amount of employees. Unnecessarily a large amount. Yeah. But I'm not going to point out any particular charity shop, but in all honesty, I think they're all as bad as each other. They've all got a purpose. And the purpose is obviously to help a charity. But unfortunately, not enough of it gets to the charity. Your sales have been pretty stable. Snap. My internet sales at the moment are okay. My car boot sales are dead in the water. I'm finding I'm giving more away than I'm actually selling at the moment. But that is the lower end items of people who are most affected, I would presume. But yeah, I agree with you. My costs have doubled. My living costs have doubled and my working costs have doubled. I shop in Aldi, which is pretty cost effective. Doesn't really buy anything new if I don't have to. I'm exactly the same. I tend to live frugally away anyway, but the energy price hikes will really hit everyone. Yeah, it's not just the energy though, Nick. As we were saying, it was everything. The cost of materials, the cost of food, the cost of fuel, it's everything. Everything has gone up so expensive this year. Now ain't the problem. The problem is going to be January, February. That's when we're all going to see our sales take a dive. Our sales are going to take a nosedive come January, February. That's what I reckon. And I'm just putting plans into place to get through next year, I am. It's all good, Anya. It shouldn't be any spamming going on because I have turned on subscriber-only comments. So there shouldn't be spamming. Little selling tools, people snapping them up and doubling their money. That's just normal. Everybody does that, especially if you go on Amazon. Hello, Laney. Who's Nick and Andrea? Never heard of them. Well, that's Nick and Andrea. Hang on. There. That's Nick and Andrea. They run a channel. Nick, drop your link in the description and I will put it on the screen when I get into it. That way anybody who wants to come across to your channel can do so. 3 items for £5. Okay, I'm not sure what that one was for. Okay. Hello, Tony. I hope Tina's doing better, mate. Give me a text. Let me know how she's doing. My sister, well, that's my brother, but my sister-in-law has COVID. We've all just got over it, and now she's really ill with it. Send love to Tina. Friends in the high-price antique industry open their homes by appointment to view the stock. It's funny visiting everything's priced. I've seen a lot of that on salvage hunters and things like that, where they get invites to go to people's homes and that. That's when people use their home as a show home. Like our website, it's the same thing. But yeah, that is cool. You get to live with the product instead of just having it in a box. Music session last night. Spanner, admin rollout, right, okay. Big difference I find with mid-century modern versus antique is that older items sell by who made them. Mid-century items sell by the look. I have changed how I describe modern items, but they sell fast. I don't know if I do actually agree with that one. Because the name sells anything, no matter whether it's antique or modern. And within the antique market, you've got rarities, stuff that flies out the door within the same day, and then you've got stuff that's just, as I said earlier, like the Staffordshire figures, where people just don't want them. So I'm not really sure, but as long as you're doing well, it doesn't really make much difference. As long as you're selling, that's all that matters. We all want a proper wage. I agree totally. I'd like a proper wage, but one thing people don't realize, when they come into the antiques industry or the reseller industry, they think easy money. How wrong they are. You end up working 100 hours a week, and some weeks you don't make minimum wage, and then other weeks you're rich. There's no secure wage with the reselling world. It really isn't, and it's awful hard work, a lot of hours. But yeah, we don't like a proper wage. Getting rid of cash is very worrying, which we should resist very strongly indeed. My big brother will know that's exactly what they want to. Hello, Rust Reloaded. I have no problem with the CWU member striking. CW? Okay. Such massive postage costs over 100 for parcel. Ouch. There's plenty of profit to pay the workers and make the service work decent wage. Yeah, I agree 100%. But when you have management taking bonuses of £1 million a year and £1 million there, to be honest with you, share some of it out. I done a video a few weeks ago, and one of my comments was that, like these with the MPs and everything else and all these electric companies, they should all be on the same wage as people like firemen and ambulance crews. That's what I reckon. People put themselves at proper risk and don't get a fair wage. That's what pisses me off. Government's going digital and they want to be allowed to dictate what we spend our money on, and they're getting their Tony. Operating in the community and ripping the same community off for big wigs' wages. I'll knock them, yeah. No, I'm going to see them striking. Didn't I just read that one? Same one, yeah. Sorry if I'm slow getting down there. My reading's atrocious, I know. I use cash for everything. Do you know, I try to use cash for everything as well. I really do. What was the chart shop in Mountain Ash that banned all traders? Well, I did say I wasn't going to name them. I can't even remember the name of it now because it's been so long since I've been there. Hang on. Charity shop, Mountain Ash. Charity shop, Mountain Ash. Can't even remember the name of it. Rowan Tree Cancer Care. They have two shops, one in Mountain Ash and one in Pontypridd, and they banned all trade. So I done a big, massive video on it. Charities will suffer, the shops will close. Do you know, we thought that when I done the video saying about how When they banned the trade, we thought that there was no way they were going to stay open without traders. Now, the only thing I can assume is traders were still going in there and buying, because let's be honest, without the traders, they never shift the quantity of stock that was needed. They really wouldn't. Check out solar. Yep, definitely so. There's a chat shop here in Nottingham that takes your items. When the item sells, you get a cut of the profit. Oh, that is super cool. If that was the case, they'd be having all my unwanted stuff, literally. I'd keep them supplied. My site is its name. My site. Okay. Good point about antique sector, and the need to try to be even more savvy and clever. To be honest, that's all it was about. I really was hoping in video we'd have more tips on how to save money. Like using second-hand boxes, turning lights off on photo boxes, things like that. Little things I figured out. Be more careful in buying stock. It was more, you need a business plan and maybe monitor weekly, daily, whatever your expenses, and constantly keep an eye on them expenses, incoming and outgoing. Antique Curios, hello. Only joking, okay. Chop, hello. Bear with me. Dumb standards have dropped. The rough bunch have arrived. No comment to that. What about asking community centres to have indoor events? They should be open to car boot style events for obvious reasons. Possibly. But then you still got to get the people out to sell at them. I think people are just got a Facebook Marketplace, things, eBay, things like that. There'll be a massive upturn on eBay this year. I don't know what eBay's profits are, but you imagine how much eBay's profits are going to be this year now when people start selling stuff because they need the money in to pay the bills. Stop working on your stock mountain. Well, have you seen my stockpile? My death pile. I think donations might increase in quantity. Right. Communication Workers Union. I have no idea what Communication Workers Union is. There you go. Someone commented voluntary cancer care. Yep. What should eBay charge? Right. We understand how hard you have to work to make a living, and I appreciate that too. But it's not just me. Every reseller, people don't realize, every reseller is a lot of work. You spend hours and hours and hours searching the stock, hours and hours listing the stock, hours packing the stock. It's a lot of work. It gives you a lifestyle, and I would recommend it to anybody. Probably not over the next couple of years. Taking on reselling during a recession isn't something I'd recommend to anyone. If you've got a job with a regular wage, I certainly wouldn't recommend anybody leave their job at the moment. If you've got a regular wage coming in, stick to that. That's what I would definitely recommend at the moment. I think with that comment about everyone having the same wage, it sounds a bit like communism. It wasn't meant that way. What I was meaning to say in the comment was, hey, they mourning, what was it? They didn't clap for the NHS, and yet members of Parliament have got second homes, holidays paid for, all in our tax money. They'll renovate their house because they want to do a dinner party for work, and it's all paid for by the taxes. That's what I meant. It's not that everybody should have the same wage. That wasn't what I meant. You pay people what they're worth. But when you got members of Parliament getting paid hundreds of pounds just to go and have lunch with somebody, and yet you got a firefighter who's going into a burning building and risking his life for a £10 wage an hour, I don't think that's fair. I really don't. So it's not about communism, right? Fire service, my brother's a fireman, and that's one of the reasons to use fire service. And I think they quoted them a 2% pay increase this year, with inflation being a 10%. Yet members of parliament and things like that are taking all these thousands of pounds bonuses. I just don't think it's fair. Pay the people pay people what they're worth. And if you feel somebody who's running into a burning building to save your life, or an ambulance or a police officer who one day you may need to save your life is only worth £10 or £12 an hour, then don't tell me the people who are sitting there making all these pathetic rules of dropping our speed limits down to 20 mile an hour. 20 mile an hour in Wales, that's the new speed limit. All right, and they think they're worth money. I'm lost for words. What a genius. Let's make all the speed limits 20 mile an hour. For equality, mind, yeah. For equality. The only tests they've run, they run during the COVID when there was less cars on the road to find out whether it actually helped anyway. So it was a flawed test in the first place. But yeah, geniuses who are making speed limits 20 mile an hour, allowing energy caps to go up every quarter, and they're getting paid thousands. So it won't even affect them anyway. And then you've got people like the emergency services. Oh, we won't give you a pay rise. We'll just go, you can F off. No. That is one thing I will stand firm on and say it's just not fair. They're not paying people what they're worth. All corrupt round here, I know for a fact. Silver gold held back for one buyer. Managers are first dibs. Am I saying the truth? And that's fair enough. That happens around my way too, Dave. Still get some that goes under the radar, though. Well, I never see gold in the charity shop. I really don't. I but picker. Some people don't have a problem with communism. I'm not about communism. I'm about pay people what they're worth. I'm an antique dealer. I know some weeks I'm going to be poor. Other weeks I'm going to be rich. That's the job I got. But I love the lifestyle that comes with it. When you can go out in the car, let me rephrase that. Years ago, we could go out in the car, we'd go around the car boot sales, we'd go around charity shops, wherever. We'd stop off, have a nice pub lunch, and it would be an absolute wonderful day. Beautiful, wonderful day. Now, it's drive to a market at 2:30 in the morning, sell all day, hardly take any money because people either want the stuff for 50 pence or they don't want it at all. Come home and then work all night online because that's the only place you get real money. But that's my choice. I don't care. I choose to do that because I love my job. I don't know if you've actually watched the video, but go back and watch the video. I've done 2 videos on it. They're on my channel. And yeah, the cancer charity shop banned all traders. And believe it or not, I actually had an antique shop 2 doors down from them. I bought everything they weren't allowed to sell off them at a fair price. Ivory, weapons, politically incorrect things like gollies and all the rest of it. I bought off them so they didn't lose because they sold it under the table to me. They used to come into the shop and I'd try and help them with valuations. And I would say to them, okay, well, this gold is X amount. It's worth this. If you can't sell it, bring it to me. I will give you this much for it. And I had a wonderful relationship going. And then they replaced Ruth, who was the manager, with a new manager. And the new manageress thought, no, I'm just going to ban all trade because I don't want them in my shop. But that's their choice. A couple of dealers even spoke to Trading Standards, and Trading Standards said it's up to them what they do. Yeah. That was Sue saying that she understood all of us resellers work hard. I understood that anyway. And believe me, Sue, I do appreciate the support. The only tip I can give for saving money I learned from when I went from a set wage to working for myself is to cut every single regular bill you can. No direct debits, no contracts, pay as you go. It's one way to go. Definitely something has to give, doesn't it? I sell from high-end antique centre. While sales are currently buoyant, I wonder whether there's any future in brick and mortar. I suspect might follow you with a website, probably on Shopify. I tried Shopify first, and I didn't really get very well with it. But then again, anytime I ever done a website or anything on my own, it never went very well. I ended up having to pay for it to be done tidy. And my internet sales are fine. My car boot sale turnover is pathetic. It's really bad. But my internet is fine. But honestly, when you're at a car boot sale and people can't pay 50p for a glass vase, that speaks volumes. And then you've got to sit down and you start thinking, well, hang on a minute, how long now before that moves up where people can't afford to pay £10 for something or £20 for something? Because it's going to come. Unless the government step in and start doing something with all the cost of living increases, it's going to get there. And antiques are not going to be a high priority. So believe me, I'm already planning what can I do to cut bills. If things go south for a year or two, what can I do to survive for that year? Believe me, I'm not I'm not gullible. I'm not sat here thinking, oh, everything's going to be all peachy, hunky-dory. I'm sat here thinking, well, how can I cut costs here? How can I cut costs there? How much do I need? I'm looking at it all, one way or another. That is exactly it. Cutting everything back and gives you a bit more control on what you spend. Do you sell mainly mid-century modern Scandi design on eBay? If so, your eBay shop is similar to your YouTube name, I think. All right. Okay, let's chop again. No idea what that is. Okay. They tried the 20 mile an hour in our towns too. Everyone ignores, so they can't enforce. They've already started reducing them all down to 20 mile an hour. And I believe the motorways and dual carriageways are dropping to 50 instead of 70. I'm not 100% on that one though. But all they'll do, they'll just put speed cameras up. It won't be more power to people. It'll just be more money to the government. Some of the test areas are now going back to 30 after so many issues and complaints. Well, hopefully it won't come right through the country, because I tell you now, could you imagine driving 20 mile an hour everywhere? And you're never going to get out of second gear, you know. How is that going to help the air pollution anyway? Bye, Anya. See you soon, darling. Right. It's all about fairness, which is what we haven't got. Politicians are without conscience. Fairness is mainly what I was talking about. My job has got an unstable wage, and I accept that as part of my job and part of my lifestyle. That way, then, I work my own hours, and I don't miss nothing. I've been there for everything with a baby. But I accept that. But fairness, yeah. But like with the likes of charity shops, they don't need to be taking millions of pounds bonuses just because the charity shop's done good money. Tony, you've had a pay freeze for 12 years and now offered just 2% increase. And my brother is a fireman there. You tell me how that's fair for fire service. Hello, Knight's Life. That's capitalism, if you Edward. Go have a look at Navarro Media. Don't worry about people thinking you're a communist. That's a compliment. Right, okay. I wouldn't know what a communist is anyway. I really wouldn't. Anyway, I remember when you put the video, it was just an excuse for the management. It's not justified as charitable practice. To be honest with you, you would think genuinely, right, that if a charity shop is selling for a charity, it wouldn't matter where the money came from in the till, as long as it was, legitimate. I always try to give all people like posties, milkman, window cleaners, etc., a little gift or treat as often as I can, because they are doing an important service to me and the community. Yeah. Every year, my postman tips for Christmas, just for the sheer hassle of coming back and for my house all the time and things like that. Got to be done on there. So yeah, I know what to say now. I've got to the end of the comments. It's more, be careful what you're spending. Try and know all your bills. Fire service, definitely. The community itself is providing the means for the charity. For people who can afford to do it, going up market is the way ahead. In any recession, the rich will do well from buying up distressed assets, so they won't be feeling the pinch. Well, that's partly what I do anyway. I only sell dearer things on the website. I go for the rarer pieces, because if people want them, they got to pay the price, because you can't find it everywhere. I learned a long time ago not to do mass-produced products unless it come in for me for nothing. For the plain and simple reason is the only way to sell a mass-produced product when there's 50 who selling is to be the cheapest. But if I have a handmade product or something that's 200-year-old and there's only 2 or 3 of them in the market, there's going to be more than 2 or 3 people who want them, so I set my price. I don't even worry if I'm the cheapest half the time. They should be given free intake. Well, yes and no, Dave, because I got to admit they do have costs as well, and they got to pay their staff and everything else. So, yeah. But the whole purpose of today's video anyway is supposed to be to chat about potential struggles we're all going to face, because I'm in there too. I'm with you. We're all going to face the same potential struggles. Look for any potential solutions. Best one has to be business plan and constantly monitor your expenses. Really does. That's the only way you're going to survive. There's been some important comments, I'd be honest with you, Sue. I totally agree. I would have liked more tips on saving money. That's what I was hoping for. If you haven't checked out my blog, go and check out the blog. It's on the website. I'm not going to keep going too much longer. It's already been a long video. But don't think for 1 second I'm sat here thinking I'm not part of their... I'm not going to be part of the struggles. I'm going to be exactly the same boat as you all. I think come January, we're all going to be... all us resellers are going to be A, struggling to sell our product, and B, because everybody's struggling, they're going to start bringing the prices down, and then we're going to be struggling to achieve a livable wage of the product. So I think certainly planning is needed. That's certainly in my opinion anyway. Did the internet problem get sorted out? No. I've got internet now. I got 5 megabytes now, but it's not sustainable. So I am still in my mum's house, in my father's spare room, filming, because even though I have got some internet for uploading and downloading now, it's not a stable line for me to do a live video. So I'm back at my mum's doing another live because I just can't get a stable signal or stable line with BT to actually do a live. It would just keep freezing, cutting out, the picture quality would be going. Try to give some ideas. Oh, believe me, I'm very grateful for them all. I really am. By smaller items that are easier to post. Cook from scratch to save money. Yeah. Or do what my brother does, which is running allotments. He grows his own and all. That is the main point of today's video, Heather. I hope people just realize that all the talking aside, that is all that is basically today's video is about. We're all going to struggle within another 6 months. Once people start feeling the pinch of these bills, we're all going to struggle. We really are. And if we don't plan ahead, we're not going to get through it. BT on strike too. Yeah, they've been on strike. They haven't been giving me a service for ages. Did I try portable Wi-Fi? I phoned them up, and it's not in my area because the coverage is so poor in my area. I can't get it. That's a brilliant. Well, I tell you what, I'm going to plug my brother then. Hang on, where is he? He's in here somewhere. If anybody wants to grow their own fruit and veg, go and check out my brother there. He's got his own channel. So go check him out. If you're interested in growing fruit and veg, check him out. But it's not for me. I tried a few times to grow some carrots, and yeah, they didn't come out very well. I'd rather just buy a bag of frozen carrots and have less hassle and have some flowers in the garden than growing my food. But yeah, check him out. He does all the growing stuff. Allotment's excellent, or growing garden if you can. Yes, that's exactly what my brother does, yeah. Yeah, okay. I'm already back doing some casual driving for my old company as well as keeping. Well, I'm actually a qualified plumber. If I wanted, I could go out and I could do plumbing tomorrow. I just don't want to. I love the job I got. So I will actually see the industry through. I will stay with the antiques. I've ridden out recessions in the past. So that's partly how I know what's coming through. This isn't the first recession we've been through. What I will say, if you're at the car boot sales, look out for gold and silver, because that is a quick wage. It really is. You find a broken earring, it's a gram in weight, and someone gives it to you for 50p, you know, that's like £15 of gold. For a broken earring, it doesn't matter. We're going to have to look how people got by in World War II, grow food, breach rabbits, chickens, falling, a good poaching, feeling that a good poaching. Yeah. Wasn't it called Dig for Victory, I believe, where the country had to start supporting itself and people were digging and growing their own? Yeah, that's my brother, so he's got a massive channel in comparison to me. Hello, Richie. Notification didn't work. No problem, fella. You can always catch it up on Catch Up. Hope you're well. No problem at all. Money saving tip. Plus, pulses are your friend. Cheap, 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 and tasty too. If you can get a wood burner installed, then do so. Get a flat top one you can cook on if it's safe to do so. Okay. Put your brother's some seed and have him grow a garden. My brother is running a fire service, because I think he's actually chief of the fire service. He's actually quite high up. He's not just the fireman, he's actually quite high. And he runs an allotments, and he runs a YouTube channel, and he runs a website, and he's got children. He actually does more than me. So I would never ask him to come and grow my in my garden. He'd probably take it over and run the stuff himself. Not sure what I can say about earn more than you spend. Stop buying rainy day items you have to give away at least next year. Be smart with your spending. That is such a good tip. No rainy day items and no risks. Although I made a mistake this week. I always take risks. I always take risks. And yet I was down in Flea Market and Martin turned up, and he's a dealer I buy off. He's not a cheap man by any means. Anyway, he always says to me, stuff in the front for you to look at. And while he's unpacking, I'll open the door and I'll have a look in the front. Anyway, he had a box of gold, and in amongst there was an unmarked peridot brooch. And at the side of that, he had a Medina vase. Anyway, I called him over. I said, I like the brooch and I like the vase. How much? He wanted £80 for an unmarked gold brooch and £50 for a Medina vase. Now, normally, and I'll be honest with you, normally I would have said to him without hesitation, you're a bit expensive. Let's just call it a straight 100 and I'll take the two of them. And he probably would have come down 100, 110. And when I've been worrying about this recession coming in for a little bit now, I've been doing business planning, and I honestly, I've sat down and I've been going over all the figures and worrying and wondering, just what have I got to do to get through the next 2 or 3 years? And I thought to myself, do you know what? Overpaying is not something I want to be doing anymore. For it to just sit on a website. I want items that are solid. Anyway, I left it. Half hour later, I saw one of the biggest glass buyers in Cardiff walking off with the glass piece, jumping up and down how excited he was to buy the glass. Martin ended up taking the gold home. He was overpriced on the gold. But the glass vase, you ready, was an unmarked 1970s Medina axe head vase in tortoiseshell for £50 that I left there. And when you look online, they're £150 to £200. That's me not taking risks. So, yeah, I weren't impressed with that. But I have to be honest, it is a good tip. No risks and no rainy day items. Plumber steel is really useful second string for your bow. That's why I went back to college a decade ago. I've saved a fortune doing my own plumbing work, and I've just installed my own bathroom. But I don't like working for people. I'm not a people person. I'm really not. No problem. I am so sorry to read that. I really am. Honestly, I am. Lost for words, mate. I am so sorry about that. Loads are going to need my info. Yeah, okay, Tony. Have I had any more thoughts on subscription? Now, people misunderstood what the meaning of subscription was. A YouTube subscription didn't mean that you had to pay for the videos. The videos all remained free. When I talked about it and I asked, would people be interested in subscription? They all instantly thought, oh no, he's going to take all the videos away and I'm going to have to pay a monthly subscription to watch the channel. That's not what a subscription is on YouTube. A subscription on YouTube is where you subscribe, let's say for argument's sake, $4.99 a month, but you get bonuses, you get extras that are not available. So you may get, it's nominal things like stickers to go in the chat. You get higher ranking in the chat, so your comments are answered quicker. I give options like I could do a 10% discount on the website for any members on my YouTube, things like that. Or I could do subscriber-only lives now and again, or hangouts. So I haven't decided any further, because when I actually asked about it on the channel, everybody took it as a negative and went, but I don't really want to pay for the content. Everybody wanted the content for free, which I don't have a problem with. So I'm still up in the air with the subscription thing. I did have a few people come back and say, yes, they'd take a subscription out and support the channel. I've already got loads of supporters like Sue, who's in the chat there. She buys off me all the time. She's so wonderful, always positive comments. So I already have people who do help and support the channel. So subscriptions, I'm not sure yet. If I do go down the route of subscriptions, it's not going to be this year. It'll be next year when my garage is finalized, when the conversion's done, and I have a studio set up with a built-in camera, with a built-in microphone, so the quality of the filming's better. And if I do go down the membership line, the videos will still say free. What I will do is I'll offer discounts in the shop. You'll have all the perks that come with membership. And I'll probably do a live hangout and things like that, where you can ask personal questions or ask for help, things like that, for the perks of being a member. But if I do, it's going to be next year. And at the moment, I am unsure which way to go, mate. Hello, Mark. Mark. Well, no. I'm putting a video out now tomorrow or the next day. It's a mini haul where I went to work Sunday. Because I weren't well enough to do the 3-car boot sales as normal, I just done the 1-car boot sale, hammer down on me 10 minutes after opening up, so I'd set the car up, and at 10 minutes later I had to pack it up, and my day was a total washout with my friends, and that I had a fabulous day. So no, it's still not great, but I am improving. How's the website doing on sales and profit compared to eBay? Fabulous, absolutely fabulous. I just sent a £300 pair of candlesticks to America with £115 postage, and it cost me £2 something on PayPal, £3 on PayPal, and nothing in commission. It's all my money. So fabulous. Can't moan, to be honest with you. My brother sounds a hero in many ways. Well done. Yes, definitely. You could probably grow a decent crop on your... I'm not commenting to that. Will be on the subscription membership list. Thank you very much, Sue. Hello, tea cakes. Last coat of paint going on my new studio today. I'm a long way behind you, Tony, but I will get there. My garage is almost empty now. What's left, to be honest, is going to end up going up the dump, unfortunately, because the car boot selling spot's going to be gone and there's going to be nowhere else left to sell it. There's nothing wrong with my restaurant benches. Let's go. Okay. Well done, everyone. Thank you for the chat and comments. Thank you very much, Sue. I'm calling her as well, Sue. It's been a long video. I'm going to call it. Go check out the website, the blogs. I got a few blogs on there. I've done a few blogs this month. I think I've done 2 or 3 blogs this month. So there's a bit of new content on there for you to read. Yeah. And I will be doing more videos. And I got a new video going out either tomorrow or the next day, which is a tiny, tiny, tiny mini haul because I've had a terrible week of buying. So other than that, yeah, I'm going to leave it there. Honestly, thank you all very much. Come in, join in, chat in. And for those of you who missed the first half or whatever, feel free to check it out. If you're watching, leave some comments. If you got any tips that can help myself or anyone else in the reseller community, leave some tips. Because I'm telling you now, we are all in for the same shitstorm. Every single one of us. None of us are exempt. I don't care what you sell. The only time I think you're going to be safe is if you're selling secondhand shoes, secondhand clothes, things like that people can't afford to go to the shops to buy but still need. That's the only time I think you're going to be safe from this recession. Because anybody selling anything else, we're all going to be hit. Anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed. And hopefully it's helped a few people. So I'll see you all soon. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. If you want to support the channel, links in the description, as is the link to my blog. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you soon.